So, good morning, students. Myself KG Misra, again in front of you with a new topic. But before that, I hope all of you are well, okay, with your family, and all of you are taking care of the rules of lockdown to ensure that all of you remain fit and fine. At the same time, you have to continue your studies also so that you can do well in the examinations, okay. So, today's topic is electric flux. Now, see, before going to the electric flux, no, let us discuss one thing. Generally, when we it is asked, no, area is a vector or scalar. People come up with the answer, no, it is a scalar. But see here, area is a vector. When area is a vector, then question comes, what is the direction for area? Now see here. Suppose this is the surface, and its area is there. Suppose its area is something, no, suppose 300 centimeter square. Let it be. Now the question comes, what is the direction for this? Now see, if you want to find out the direction of this area, no, then it is always perpendicularly outward. So this is the direction for this area of this surface. If you are taking area of this surface, then what will happen? A direction for area of this surface is again perpendicularly outward. Okay. Area direction for area of this surface, again it will be perpendicularly outward. Area of this surface, its direction will be perpendicularly outward, like this. Okay. So in this way we can indicate the direction of area vector. Now let's say the definition of electric flux. What is it? The number of electric field lines passing through a surface normally is called electric flux. Okay. It is the number of electric field lines, okay, which is passing normally through a surface is called electric flux. Normally means perpendicular to the surface. Okay. Now see here. I have taken this surface. The surface is S. Okay. And this is a very small part of this surface. This is a very small part of this surface. Okay. That is ds. That is area of the surface is ds. Okay. Now this small surface has got the direction. So direction, as I have told you, it will be perpendicular to this. So this is the direction ds. Now there is an electric field. Electric field is directed along this direction. Electric field is E. Okay. Now as electric field is directed in this direction, electric field has got the angle theta with the direction of area ds. Small area ds I should write here. Vector ds. Okay. As the angle is theta, so we can say that electric field intensity will have two components. One along this, that is E cos theta. Another perpendicular to this, that is E sin theta. You can see E sin theta is parallel to this surface. Okay. But which component we have to take according to definition? We have to take normal component, which is perpendicular to this surface. So which is perpendicular? E cos theta. So what we can write? Electric flux is what? Electric flux is equals to how much? It is E cos theta ds. Okay. Now see, flux actually it is denoted by phi. But see, as area is small, so we will write it d phi. So d phi is equals to what? D phi is equals to E cos theta ds. Okay. Now if you want to find out the total flux, then what you have to do? Net flux will be how much? It is integration of E cos theta ds. Okay. But see, E is a vector quantity. ds is also vector quantity. I should not put here vector sign because other vector quantities, for other vector quantities we are not putting here. That's why. Okay. So see, E is a vector quantity, ds is a vector quantity. Two vector quantities can be multiplied only in two ways. One dot product and the cross product. Okay. And just see here, flux. Flux is a scalar quantity. As it is a scalar quantity, so we know that two vector quantities, when they are having cross product, they give the vector, but it is a scalar. So we also know that when two vector quantities having dot product, then we get the scalar quantity. So here dot product will be there. One more evidence for dot product is here. We know that A dot B gives us AB cos theta. So presence of cos theta also indicates that there will be a dot product. So finally what we are going to get, see, just say here, finally we will get phi is equals to integration E dot ds. Now we can put the vector sign because dot product, for dot product vectors are required. Okay, so this is the formula for flux. This is the formula for mathematical formula for flux. Okay, and using this formula we can find out the electric flux. Note down the formula of you. Or if you want to find out only magnitude, then you can write simply E ds cos theta. Okay. Now it comes, what is the SI unit? So SI unit of flux is, SI unit of flux is, you can see from here, it is Newton per coulomb and it is area is meter square. So Newton meter square per coulomb. This is the SI unit. Okay. So its one unit is Newton meter square per coulomb. Another unit is or volt meter. So Newton meter square per coulomb or volt meter. These are the units of flux. Okay. Now, next is a law which is given by Gauss. Okay. So we are going to study the Gauss law, which will help us to, which will simplify the problems in which we have to find the electric flux due to the charges, different charged bodies. Okay. So next heading is Gauss law. Okay. So the Gauss law, what is the statement? It states that the net electric flux through a closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the net charge enclosed by it. By whom? By the closed surface. If the closed surface, whatever charge, net charge it is enclosing, it is going to depend on that charge into this. Okay, 1 by epsilon naught will give you the net electric flux through it. Now see, if suppose in the closed surface the medium is not free space, then instead of epsilon naught we will have epsilon, that is permittivity of that medium. So what we can write, phi is equals to q by epsilon naught, where q is q net, the net charge which is enclosed. Okay, that's what we get from the Gauss law. So according to Gauss, electric flux, net electric flux through a closed surface is equal to charge enclosed, net charge enclosed by that surface upon epsilon naught, provided the space in the inside the closed surface is having free space. If it is not having free space, if it is having some other medium, then for that medium you can have q net upon epsilon, that is permittivity of that medium. Okay. In case of Gauss law, the shape of the surface, the flux does not depend on the shape of the surface. If the surface is spherical or how much large the surface is, the flux doesn't depend on that. It depends on the charge and the permittivity of the medium inside the closed surface. Okay. Now we are going to prove this, proof of Gauss law. That is the next topic. Okay. So what we have done? Now see, we have taken a sphere of radius r. At the center of the sphere a charge q is placed. Okay. Now on the surface of this sphere what will be the electric field due to this charge? That we are going to find out. See, electric field on the surface of the sphere is, because see, this is a point charge, distance is r, so straight away we can write E is equals to kq upon r square. What is k? 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r square. That is our electric field. Now, according to the definition of flux, what we know, phi is equals to closed loop integral E dot ds. Now, what is this closed loop? That means the integration has to be done throughout the closed surface. Okay. Now, closed surface may be a cube, may be a cube or a sphere or a cylinder, okay, or a cone. It can be any closed surface, no? So that's why we call it on a closed surface. And this is the symbol for that closed surface, okay? Because see, this loop is closed. Now, this is the definition. Now see here, at this point, if this is a positive charge, then its electric field will be in which direction here? In this direction. This is the direction of electric field. Okay. Now, and if we are taking a small surface over here of area ds, then its direction also will be along the same direction because it is perpendicular to this surface. So this is direction for ds also. Okay. So I'm going to explain to you. Just wait. See here. I'm going to write this first. Equation 1 already you have written. Okay. Now, if we take a small area ds over here, then ds will have direction perpendicularly outward, as we have discussed earlier. Now, what will happen? If we are the direction of electric field due to this positive charge will be along this only. So that we write. We can write here electric field, that is whatever electric field is there, E. Okay. Now, when we put these things over here, now tell me what is the angle between E and ds? It is 0. You might be thinking that sir has taken here. Okay, no problem. You take the area here, ds, no problem. Area will be directed like this. Electric field again, you know, electric lines of force go in all the directions. So electric field again will be along this also. Anywhere you take through the surface of the sphere, you will find the electric field and the area vector both are along the same direction. As both are along the same direction, so what is the value of theta? You can see theta is equals to 0 degree. When theta is 0 degree, then what we get from here? We can write phi is equals to closed loop integration E, okay, ds cos 0. That's what we get. Now, E ds cos 0 is 1. So, E ds is there. So, E we can take out. Integration of ds throughout the surface. This is which type of surface? Sphere. What is the total area of the sphere? It is 4 pi r square. This is 4 pi r square. Okay. So, we can integrate this now. Integrating, what we will get? We will get E into 4 pi r square only we will get. Okay. Because integrate, seeing this you will get s. And then you can put the value like this. Okay. I am not going to skip the step at all. You will get s and then you can put 4 pi r square here. And here it is 0. So 4 pi r square minus 0, it will get how much? E into 4 pi r square. That's what you will get. This is the flux. Okay. This is our equation number 2. Earlier we have written the equation number 1 for electric field intensity. And here we have written this expression for flux as equation number 2. Okay. Now, what we can do? From equations 1 and 2. I am removing the diagram. From equations 1 and 2, we get, let's see what we get. 1, it was the value of E, so we can place the value of E over here. So what we are going to get? Phi is equals to, value of E was 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r square. That was E. And here what we have got? 4 pi r square. Okay, so 4 pi r square. Now what you can see here, 4 cancel out, pi cancel out, this r square also cancel out. What you get? Phi is equals to q by epsilon naught. Does it contain? Now it is proved. Okay, And we can see here it is not containing the term radius over at all. So it doesn't depend on the size of the closed surface. Okay, either you are keeping the same charge in a small surface, enclosed surface, or in a large enclosed surface, or a rectangular closed surface, doesn't matter. Net flux through that surface will be always same, and that is Q by epsilon naught. That means it will depend on the charge only and the permittivity of the medium which is there inside the closed surface. Okay. So now next is applications of Gauss law. Now what are the applications? See the first, electric field intensity due to uniformly charged straight long wire. So first we have to find out the electric field intensity using Gauss law. For what? For a uniformly charged straight long wire. Okay, you can say also infinite length, wire of infinite length. Okay, no problem. Next is electric field intensity due to uniformly charged infinite plane sheet. So there is an infinite plane sheet and it is uniformly charged. We have to find out the electric field due to it. Okay. Now third one is electric field intensity due to charged thin spherical cell. Okay, so these are the three applications. First you have seen it was electric field intensity due to uniformly charged straight long wire. Second was electric field intensity due to uniformly charged infinite plane sheet, and third one is electric field intensity due to uniformly charged thin spherical cell. Okay. So this is the first application which we are going to deal with. Okay, it is electric field intensity due to uniformly charged straight long wire. Okay, so this is your, you can see it is infinite wire, you can see it is dotted, here part is there. Okay, here also dotted part is there, that means it is extending upward as well as downward. Okay, so it has no limit, okay, upward also as well as downward. So now in order to apply Gauss law, no, what we need to draw a Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface means we have to draw a surface which will enclose its some part, because you know no surface can enclose an infinite wire. So we require a wire which will enclose its a part only. Okay, not full. So suppose we are going to draw a cylinder here. Why? Because symmetrical, see, the Gaussian surface should be symmetrical to the charged body. Okay, so we have to draw a cylinder here, cylindrical surface, and suppose this length of the cylinder we have drawn, that is L, and the radius is R. Okay, why we have taken this radius R? See, it has got some significance. L can be arbitrary, doesn't matter. Okay, you can take of any length. Why have we taken R? Because we want to find out the electric field at a point P which is at distance R from this wire. Okay, so as we want to find out the electric field at point P which is at distance R from the wire, so we have to draw a cylindrical Gaussian surface which has got radius R. Okay, length can be L, whatever, 2L, whatever you want. Okay, doesn't matter. So this surface is called Gaussian surface. Gaussian, Gaussian surface. It is called Gaussian surface. Okay. Now, as this is the positive charge, what you will do? Here you can take a small area. Suppose you have this area is ds. Then this area will have direction perpendicularly outward, ds, vector ds we can write. Okay. Now, it is positively charged. So what will happen? The electric field will be also in the same direction. This is the electric field. Okay. So both have the same direction. So what is the angle between them? So here you can find theta is equals to how much? theta is equals to 0 degree. That's what you find. Okay, as theta is equal to 0 degree, now what we can do, first we will apply the according to definition of flux what we know, phi is equals to closed loop integral E dot ds. This dot is there. So what we will do here theta is 0 degree. So what we can write? Can we get this? E ds cos 0. Sorry, instead of theta we will cos 0 degree. And what is the value of cos 0? It is 1. So what we will left with? We will be left with E constant we can take out. It is ds only, which will be there inside this. Okay. So only ds is left. ds means whole surface area of this cylinder. Okay. Now, so done up to here. Next, we are going to integrate what is the total surface area of the cylinder. Because see, electric flux will not be coming out of here. Okay, it will coming out of this surface only, curved surface. So we want the whole surface area, whole curved surface area of the cylinder. So for whole curved surface area of the cylinder, we know that it is how much? 2 pi r h, but here it is L. So 2 pi r L. Okay, so what we can write from here? So from here what we get? Phi is equals to E, integration is from 0 to 2 pi r L, and this is ds. As you will integrate, what you will get? E s 0 to 2 pi r L. So you can write E into 2 pi r L. That is your flux. This is our equation number 1. Okay. This we have got. So from the definition of flux, what we got? Phi is equals to E into 2 pi r L. Okay. Now we are going to apply the Gauss law. According to Gauss law, phi is equals to Q by epsilon naught. Now see here, how can we get the charge for an infinite wire? It's not possible. Although its linear charge density lambda is given. So what we will do? See, we have to take that charge which is enclosed by this, which is enclosed inside it. Okay. So what is the length of the wire which is closed inside the cylinder? Obviously, it is equal to the length of the cylinder. So, length of the wire enclosed within the cylinder is equal to length of the cylinder, and length of the cylinder is L. So, what is the length of the wire inside the cylinder? That is L. So, as this lambda is what? Linear charge density. That means charge present on unit length. So, what is the charge present on L length? That is L lambda. And that is the charge enclosed by the cylinder. So, according to the Gauss law, flux will be equal to lambda L upon epsilon naught. Now we got the equation number 2. From equations 1 and 2, see, both are the value of same flux. So both can be equated. Okay. So what we can write? We can write from equations 1 and 2. What we will get? See from here, E into 2 pi r L is equals to lambda L by epsilon naught. That's what we get. Now can remove these things. We don't require at all. Okay. From here what we can do? First we can cancel L. Next we can take other thing that side. So we get lambda by 2 pi r epsilon naught. Okay. So this is the expression for electric field due to a infinitely charged straight long wire. Okay. Uniformly charged infinite straight wire. Okay. At a distance r from it. Okay. So only distance is there and linear charge density is there reflecting here. Okay. This gives you the electric field intensity. Okay. This is the magnitude of electric field. Now what about the direction? See, if this wire is positively charged, then the direction is outside. It is directed away from the wire. Okay. And if the wire is negatively charged, suppose wire is like this, wire is negatively charged, then what will happen? Electric field intensity will be directed towards it. Okay. So for negative charge it is towards it, for positively charged it is away from it. That is the direction part of the electric field intensity due to uniformly charged straight long wire. Okay, one more thing I would like to tell you about the electric flux. See, when the positive charge is there in a closed surface, no, in a closed surface, suppose a positive charge is there, this charge is positive. Okay, so what will happen? The electric field lines will go out, because electric field lines used to come out of this positive charge, so field lines will go out. So when the flux is going out of the surface, then phi is taken positive. Okay, and if it is a negative charge, then what will happen? Obviously we know that electric field lines terminate in the negative charge, so it will come out from outside. Okay, so when the lines of force are, or free electric field lines are coming from outside in a surface, okay, they are entering in the surface, then flux is taken as negative. So this is a sign convention you must remember forever, that when the flux is leaving the surface, closed surface, then flux is taken positive. When flux is entering a closed surface, then flux is taken as negative. Okay, that means it is charge dependent. Obviously it is a scalar quantity, so it will depend on the nature of the charge. Okay, it will be positive according to the net charge. If net charge is positive, then flux is positive. If net charge is negative, flux is negative. Okay, so remaining two applications we will discuss in the next video. Till then, take care and keep on studying. Thank you.